I'm on the way back to the studio to record this episode on confidence. I'm excited because we decided to make this thing like a podcast, a 4 bars a day podcast. And we're talking about confidence because it just comes up in creative self-expression, comes up in rap writing, comes up in freestyling. And even when people are doing well in it, the person can still be suffering from a lack of confidence. And I know in my own life, in my own journey, confidence has been something that I had to learn, some myths I had to unravel in order to allow myself to feel confident and to continue to develop the skill of confidence. All right, let's get into it. As always, Genius of a Doubt, and I'll see you in the podcast, y'all. Deuces. All right, so we're doing 4 bars a day about confidence, and let's talk about how we're going to break this down. We're going to break it down like we're going to start with something we're going to call soapbox. We'll get 2 or 3 minutes, and we're just going to say whatever comes to our mind about the topic at hand. In this case, it's confidence. Then we will open up the discussion and ask each other questions, what caught our attention. And while we're doing the soapbox and having the discussion, we're taking notes. We're grabbing phrases, ideas that could potentially become the 4 bars that we write about and share at the end. So after the discussion, we'll do some writing, take about 10 minutes to start working our process to craft the 4 bars. We'll share the 4 bars, share some feedback, share some just thoughts, and end with some highlights and insights before we get out of here for this round of it. So if anything strikes your fancy, any insights, any gems, wisdom, anything that you want to remember, let's see them in the comments wherever this is being presented to you. It's good feedback to let us know like what's resonating, so we can continue to build on this work of expanding the craft of growth rap, as well as your own personal development, because that's what we're about here. So RhymeMasters in the building. Okay. Confidence is actually a power virtue of mine. And what I mean by it being a power virtue is I want to focus on that this year because I'm often battling self-doubt, if I'm being honest. And by battling the self-doubt, it's generally just whispers, stories of just something not working out. And it's a habit that I've had maybe for all my life. I definitely struggled with confidence early on. I would even say that would be why I didn't rap as soon as I wanted to. I was looking for, how to do rap before I started to learn. Because it's like, if I knew how to rap, then I would rap and I would not have to feel any insecurity about it. But since I felt all this insecurity about it, I delayed rapping, freestyling, writing. I tried here and there, but I kept it all to myself. I shared it with maybe close friends who I felt like it was a safe space to be able to open up, and never quite developing that certainty that like I could execute a dope flow or say what I want to say, and it didn't really happen until college. Similar environment where like, yes, people around me that was supporting the expression I was comfortable doing, which was poetry. Like that's where I started to develop a sense of confidence, and I think that came after impressing myself. Like I wrote something because it took effort and it wasn't easy. I thought it was bad, but then I kept it, forgot about it, read it again, and was impressed. And I was like, oh, okay, I like that. And then I shared some of the things I liked poetry-wise with people, and they responded. And I think that's kind of started my having some confidence in just my ability to put words together. And then even my ability to necessarily write rap, but I also was like, if I can't freestyle, then I'm not gonna rap. So, all right, that's my soapbox. Yeah, I did it. I don't have the applause yet, so we'll wait for more budget increases before I add the applause sound effects.
Confidence is a very entangled subject matter, because I feel like it can seep into so many things, like belief, right? Confidence starts within in a lot of cases, and it's about like, how does one believe in oneself so they can do it? Similar to the whole, like, if I forget the experiment, but like, if the animal doesn't think it can jump beyond a certain point, it won't try. When it could like jump 3 times that height and get out and get freedom, it's like one of those things. So like, you want to be able to boost your self-esteem in order to boost your confidence. But then on the flip side, you have, practice makes perfect, that phrase. Just more so speaks to the fact that, like, through habit, through repetition, through trial and error, you can gain confidence as you develop a skill, right? Which can also be attached to belief as well, because now you know, versus you think, like, I think I could dunk, versus I dunk 25 times a day when I'm warming up in the gym. So I mean, I personally don't dunk, but for those that do dunk, you know what I'm saying, that's probably what they do. Anyway, I'm also thinking belief, dreams, right? What you can achieve, what you can attain. And a lot of the times dreams can be synonymous with clouds and like daydreaming and using your imagination to see different shapes and different things. But then there's also a social proof aspect. The more people believe something or stand on something, like that bandwagon effect. Yeah, so you were talking about you struggling with your confidence, and in particular your confidence in rapping. And I thought like that had an impact on me, because I too struggled within to feel confident about my raps in the beginning as well, mainly because my skill set was production. So in a lot of ways I kind of felt like I modeled like the early Kanye, because it's like, all right, I'm about to try to start rapping now, and I don't know if people are going to take me seriously or think about me or see me in a competitive light, so I wanted to know, like, have you, like, one, have you gotten through that, and 2, what got you through that to the point where now you don't struggle with confidence in yourself or belief in yourself when it comes to rap?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I will. So the answer to first, at least not the first part, but the part I can answer quickly, is that I have gotten through it. Like, I know I can rap. I know I have the skill. I know I'm skilled in it. I am on my top 5 list. And it's something that I saw DJ Jazzy Jeff post about maybe a month ago, about being dope and not worried about being the best. And it basically, when I say I'm on my top 5, it's like, I know I'm dope. I may not be in your top 5, I may not be on anybody else's top 5, but the fact that I'm on my top 5 is an accomplishment. Considering that when I started, it would be blasphemous to even think that I could do that, right? I didn't think I would ever be able to rap, because again, there was nobody to teach me like in a direct fashion. It was I thought like, oh, it's just a skill that you have, it's just a talent that you're born with, and I think now we know better. Like plenty of people, you go to YouTube, courses online that can give you the basics of it, but I didn't have that. It was really just listen, watch, learn, write out raps by hand, write the lyrics out, and then as you're writing the lyrics out, it's like, oh, you start to see some of those connections that you didn't even think about when you heard the song, and then you realize like, oh, you start realizing how kind of the recipes that start coming together to put the raps that you hear that give you the final product, but you don't pick up on the first listen. So I got through it through like, yes, a lot of practice. Like I took a lot of my sports background and that discipline, like really work on the skill. I brought that approach to the craft. But even when I got to a high skill level, I wouldn't even say that I was necessarily confident. I was still coming from a place of fear of perfectionism, right? Like I was looking for the result to justify my confidence. And I've learned differently that actually you develop confidence first that will get you the result. And then it's kind of this virtuous cycle. But when you're not getting the result, it almost has little to do with your skill of confidence. And it's a very counterintuitive thing, because confidence is really, it's about a feeling of certainty. It's not about a certainty of the result, because you can't guarantee results. But you can come with a sense of certainty that you will get the result, right? And so it's a very subtle distinction. And I would just to, because I can keep going on that journey. But what I'm curious is what has been your journey with confidence? Because I think we shared this kind of the same background in the sense of entering hip hop through the production side first. Mm-hmm. So that was like I was a producer, beat maker, and then I was also writing poetry. But I was claiming not to rap until I was like, okay, I can do this. So what was that journey like for you?
It was a long journey, I'll say that. So I had confidence enough to go out and put myself out there, put my music out there. I just didn't have the confidence to compare myself at the time to my peers, because I felt like the quality wasn't there. So at that stage, I took the time to learn more skills as far as mixing, recording, editing, and then I got newer equipment, and then really started locking in to build up the quality. And once I felt very confident in my quality and that it could match my peers and other people that I look up to, then I was like, all right, I'm ready to, approach this thing and start really being confident in what I can deliver. Because that would be like the first thing. People are like, I can't even like listen to this because of the mix. So I can't listen to this because of your vocals. Like, when you gonna get this mixed, or when is this gonna get? So that was like a barrier that I had to get through. But once I got through that step, it was just more so finding myself as far as my sound. And that's where I lacked confidence. Like, what was my sound? What could I say is unique to me and my preference musically, especially when I'm always shifting, you know, like I always have new ideas, do this, do that. So it was hard to kind of find a brand identity. But now that I'm getting older and I'm starting to see life through a different perspective, mainly influenced by time, now it's like, okay, I'm able to clarify those things now. So now at this stage, I feel very confident with where I am and what I'm about to do in the future. But it definitely was a long journey, a very long journey.
The piece you say about like the quality barrier, right? It's a thing, meaning, especially in the creative arts, right? And putting yourself out there for critique, criticism, judgment of others, right? There is like a baseline of quality that you want to get your skills to. And I think with confident people, or people who, like, I think of confidence now more as a skill than necessarily a trait, but people can have kind of a natural gift in any particular skill. And so there's people who, for whatever reason, are naturally confident. They probably, again, like, I guess what I'm thinking of is, hopefully I'm saying his name right, Shadir Sanders. I might be saying it wrong, but, and really probably any of like Deion Sanders' children, right? Probably naturally confident people because they are raised by a supremely confident individual, and they were taught that. So how does a confident individual approach the quality barrier? So their skills aren't quite there, and yet they're still confident in themselves. So, like, maybe I'll say it a different way. It's like, how do you develop the confidence before you meet the quality barrier?
When you believe that it's worth it. If I didn't believe it was worth it, I wouldn't have put the time and energy and financial investment behind doing it. I wouldn't have went to school for it briefly. I wouldn't have, bought all of these equipment, throughout the years, and like learned how to learn music theory and how to read sheet music and things. Like, there would be no point to this. When I felt like this is holding me back, that's when I knew it was time to make that investment, because anything that I was gonna put out at that point wasn't gonna satisfy me on a personal level. Because it's almost like I know I could run a 40-yard dash in like 45 seconds, but I got Tim's on because I don't have running shoes. So you're doing like 8, a minute and a half, you know what I'm saying? Just getting upset. And now you like, finally I got some running shoes. You don't even gotta run hard. You just, whoop, look at that, 50 seconds in. So that's what I mean. When you're like, it's time to make that investment, to get that coach, to get those shoes, to get that equipment, to go to that training camp, when you know you are ready, you just need some help getting through that barrier. That's when it's time to go ahead and get through that quality barrier.
What I'm hearing in that is, I think, maybe a universal aspect of developing confidence as a skill is the belief that you'll get there, right? The shooter's going to keep shooting because no matter what, they believe the next shot's going in.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't matter where their form is. It doesn't matter what level of actual mechanics, right? Like, and I think of, kids before they have that first kind of like failure that makes them hesitant. It's like, look what I can do, and they believe they can do it when they physically can't. Right? Like that's a skill. And this almost brings up another issue of like how we actually unteach confidence, right? Because
we limit it.
Right. Because I mean, I remember, so in my, sports background, it's like, what's worse, what seems to be like the worst thing is somebody who's talking a whole lot of stuff and then they can't back it up. Right? That's the thing that we like judge, an athlete for hardest. And yet, like, I think I internalized that in the sense of like, okay, I want to make sure that, one, I'm not going to talk mess. I'm just going to be able to demonstrate that I can do stuff, right? But I think in that, because that's a good thing, meaning like, I'm not just going to act like I can do more than I can. I'm going to work hard to make sure I can do what I say I can do. And I'm not going to tell myself I can do it until I prove it to myself. And that's where I think it undermined my confidence, because I was looking for the result to be able to say, okay, now I can be confident in myself. And I think that's I don't have a word for it just yet, but I think in this little space, that's the near enemy to confidence, where it's like, yes, you have to show and prove, right? But the showing and the proving is not required for you to feel and believe that you can show and prove, that you can get the result that you're seeking. And I think that's what held me back from, I mean, rap is what we're focusing it on because obviously the nature of the channel, but really I could see this thread through my life where I would maybe not take an opportunity. I was that animal you were talking about, right? I can't, I haven't jumped that far before, so I don't think I can jump that far, so I'm not going to try to jump that far. Right? So yeah, I mean, that's, and so now what I know differently, right, is that's why I'm in my top 5. Right? Like, because me believing I'm in my top 5 means I'm going to keep writing. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep spitting. I'm going to keep going and pushing myself for whatever opportunities that I so choose. Right? Yeah. And not to prove why I should, like, I don't care if I'm in your top 5 or not. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That I'm not worried about that. And there's probably a point in time in my life where I was, because again, if I'm going to say I'm in the top 5, somebody has to validate it for me, right? In order for me to believe in myself. But that's not confidence, right? That's dependency. He's back.
Yes, sir.
I have no clue how much time. I feel like it was longer than 10, but I could be wrong. Check the tapes and see how long it actually took. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes it's just hard to settle. You get an idea. It's like, oh, but then it could be this, it could be this. It's like it's just 4 bars, Desmond. Calm down. Okay. You do your 4. I'll do my 4. You do your 4.
Okay. All right. I like it.
All right.
Confidence is key to the battery. Unlock the power, heat, man, burning calories. Confident in my work, I'm a factory. Cheers before and after the game, off the balcony.
Comments cut with no blade, clips with no fade. They say demonstrate great before you claim great. Ain't stressing C-section, my pen live as life. Goat with pen strokes, my vibe stays top 5.
Confidence is key to the battery. Unlock the power, heat, man, burn your calories. Confident in my work, I'm a factory. Cheers before and after the game, off the balcony.
Comments cut with no blade, clips with no fade. They say demonstrate great before you claim great. Ain't stressing C-section, my pen's live is life. Go with the pen strokes, my vibe stays top 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
This beat got a swing to it, so it is a little hard to catch.
Yeah. And it's, at least on my end too, there's like processing things happening. So it's
a
like
lag on your part too,
yeah. So maybe in post it'll sound, we can clip it right. We'll fix it in post. Yeah, I like the. Well, I don't know. Break your bars down a little bit. I'll turn it down.
So for the most part, I tapped into the question I asked you about, like how you overcame your lack of confidence in regard to rap, and outside of that, you spoke about insecurities as well. So because we kind of shared like a similar trauma in that sense, I kind of decided to write in that direction. And that's where like the whole confidence is key to the battery. I'm thinking about like the inner battery. And that's when I segue to unlock the power, He-Man burning calories, because it's like really the power within, and you are the hero of your own story, but you just have to have the confidence to believe and put faith in that battery so you can actually do the things that you need to become that, to represent that. So from there, through that repetition and through that repetition, burning calories, you gain that confidence. So I say, confident in my work, I'm a factory. So whether you working on your body, working on your temple, your mind, whatever it is, your business, like I'm efficient, I'm proficient, I'm a factory when it comes to this. And that's generally how I feel now about where I am in music. And that's why I have a lot of confidence in myself at this point in time, at this stage in my career, right? So I'm speaking to that, and then just going into the whole like championship mindset, because the playoffs is here, thinking about, team games, cheers before and after the game, off the balcony, because like I'm putting the work in advance, knowing that I'm gonna win, unshakable faith and confidence in my belief that me and my team can win. And I believe that at the end of this night, I'm gonna be out partying with the team, with the gang, off the balcony, cheers in, champagne, whatever it is. And so it's that overwhelming confidence where it seeps out of you and it starts to infect and manifest into the things that you want it to become.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. The factory line stuck out with me. And how that happens when the confidence is locked in, and how that produces that result of just being able to like just show up and continue to do the work. and I could again see that within life too, not just in music. I'm curious. I'm pondering the difference between confidence and courage, or just the relationship. Not really the difference, but the relationship between them, because I do believe they are related. Let me break down my bars real quick. Comments cut with no blade, clip with no fade. This is just really how the comment section can go off the rails for no apparent reason. Really, I'm playing on this idea of the barbershop talk being in the comments, which is something that I could come back to later in another 4 bars or something, because that's another area where people like to talk about folks doing stuff, that barbershop talk. They say demonstrate great before you claim great. So I'm really focusing kind of just on that last little part of the conversation of just, that advice of like, I would almost say like, I don't think that's great advice for confidence now, right? It's like you claim great and then you keep doing the work until you demonstrate great. Like that's how you get there. But the reason they say it, right, the barbershop people in the comments, is because they're actually not confident. All right, all they know how to do is judge. All they know how to do is be a spectator. And it's one thing to be a spectator and say, hey, this is how it's affecting me. It's another to be a spectator, and then I'm going to take all the discontent and pain in my life and put it on to you, the person performing the thing, right?
Yeah.
And then to the point where you're not even recognizing your humanity. It's like, no, you're in my life to entertain me. You're not entertaining me, so thus I get to, put all my harm on you, because my life is challenging and stressful, and I'm not okay with that, right? So there's a line. Ain't stressing C-section. My pen live is life. Just playing off the C-section, like C-section, comment section, C-section, birth. So that's how I got to live is life.
Tough. That's tough.
And then goat with pen strokes. My vibe stays top 5. And that's just me claiming, reiterating I'm in my top 5. And there's some, tweaks I would make if I were to develop this further, if I was going to put it out beyond that. But I think the essence of what these 4 bars represent as it relates to confidence and discussion is just how we really just misunderstand it, to develop confidence, right? And we see somebody posturing, and maybe we think they're overconfident, maybe we think they're arrogant, and I think that's a matter of taste. But if the person has done the work, the 10,000 hours or whatever, to truly believe that they can get elite level results, and then they tell you that's what they believe, then that's what they're supposed to do. That's the top demonstration of confidence. Now, if they don't get the result, that actually has little to do with their confidence, because them not getting the result, it could be their execution, it could be the other team's execution, right? But the result is like, the result just is not in the context of just the skill of confidence. It can't be so tied to the result, because when you start not getting the results, then that belief goes down, And there's by believing that you are the best, that by believing you are great, you unconsciously release, as you're talking about, that energy to be able to then demonstrate it. But it can't start with the demonstration. It has to start with the belief.
I see what you're saying. It has to start with the conception, the inception, the idea of it versus the proof of it.
Yeah. Because if it's starting with the proof, then you're waiting until you have proof before you act. And that was essentially the story of my life for good 3/4 of it. You know, I had other things inside of me that compelled me to act anyway, but it wasn't necessarily my sense of confidence, though. Right?
Understood.
So, because that's the beauty of, you know, the human experiences, right? We have other values, we have other energies within us that still will say, hey, I know you're scared, I know you're unconfident, you know, but if you don't act, you know, your love is threatened. Right? Like, so there's a lot of different energy sources that, i.e. a lot of different emotions that we can tap into to spur action to keep our life moving. And then as we do our work to develop and grow, we can start cultivating those emotions to move in the direction we want to go. Right? And so, yeah, it's illogical. If you miss 100 shots in a row, it's very illogical to believe the next one's going in. But a confident person, will say, no, the next one's going in. The more I miss, the more I'm due to make the next shot. That's not how probability works. But that's how confidence works.
Overconfidence, especially.
Yeah, and I mean,
They're like, pass the ball.
Yeah, that too.
Never pass it.
Right. And I mean, the dynamics of the game and all that stuff. But like, confidence in, like, if you have a wide open shot, I don't care if you missed 100 shots. Right?
You shoot that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like, you shoot. If it's a good game shot, you shoot it. If you're a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, overconfidence might be like, if we're talking about, I mean, you know, you could talk rap too, but overconfidence in the basketball context could also be like, okay, I know I'm struggling, so I'm going to shoot myself back into it, and then now you're not making the best game play. Right? So, and I mean, yeah, so that, like, being confident doesn't necessarily mean that you have to keep doing the something that's not working in a bigger goal that you're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's confidence is more about the feeling of certainty that you move in. But if there's some other factors that are at play, you're still able to adapt to still get to the real outcome that you're looking for. But never turning it in, internalizing the not being capable, internalizing, right? Like in a book, The Confident Mind, this is kind of where I'm basing a lot of the learning from that's really helped me. Like the first victory is that victory of just belief that you can win, right? And that you can find a way, right? And the belief is the first victory. It's not the winning. Right. It's the believing the game is already won. It's not the game actually being won, because it doesn't work that way. So, all right, let's wrap this up. Highlights and insights. Something I'm gonna take away, and then.
I like the cuts and the fades and the C-sectioning. bars that you had, mainly because of the angle of just like cutting, something like, oh, blades, cutting, slicing. So it was just like a cool little staple that was just like popping up throughout the four that you were doing. And that's what really stood out to me. Very subtle, but I appreciated it.
Your breakdown on your bars too, I liked. Like, I really, and just visual of, it's like the visual nature of it, right? The celebration and just how it connects to that. It's the feeling, it's the visual that connects with the feeling of confidence, and that's what I appreciated about your 4 bars about confidence. All right, well, we did it.
Yes, sir. Not the worst.
Made it to the place.
Not the worst.
Not the worst. Not the worst. Slightly better than the worst.
Ever so slightly.
Oh gosh.